Do you think a manufacturer or a dealer will honor a warranty claim if in some way they see an accessory that you fitted to your vehicle could be causing it? I think not. And this is why. My name is Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I build four-wheel trucks and travel to the remotest parts of the world. I'm a prisoner of this hill. Early 2017, I took delivery of a brand new Land Cruiser 70 Series, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. It does everything it says it would on the tin and more. Rugged, reliable, etc., etc. And if you are an owner of a 70 Series Land Cruiser, you will understand that this vehicle really delivers on its promises, even though it's got quite a few, some annoying shortcomings that we learn to live with and just accept. For those of you who watched my previous video about the rear rotors and brake pad issue, Toyota has not contacted me, the dealership has not contacted me, and I'm not surprised. They would just rather these things just go away, which they normally do. But I want to extend the question. This was a simple vehicle manufacturer fault, I feel, and most people who watch the video feel, a defective part. And they wouldn't accept it because it's in the category of wear and tear items. Okay, let's take something else. Let's take a unit chip or a piggyback chip. It improves performance beautifully in terms of power output. It accelerates better. It's fantastic. It's such a nice vehicle to drive. If you now go, it's no point in me going to the dealership now and saying, will my warranty be covered? Because they'll say, oh yes, and then they'll hedge. Because they want to sell you a car, so they'll hedge. They won't actually say, absolutely not. Your warranty, if you have an engine problem, if you fit one of those, is gone, finished. They won't say it because they'll lose a sale if they do. They won't risk that, so they'll hedge. So what happened to me was I had an engine problem on my trip across Australia. Tiny little problem, tiny little insignificant problem. A warning light came on. Just a warning light came on. And I have no idea what it was. An engine warning light, and the car went into limp mode for about 1 second and then continued running, and then I pulled over, stopped, turned the engine off, turned it back on, and the light went out. So that said to me, as the operator of the vehicle, something is wrong. Now at the time I didn't have a scan gauge or any other way of knowing what that was. I would have had to take it to a dealership. Instead I went to my mate in Queensland, and he said, you know, Andrew, it was old Ruthie, I bet you it's the air sensor, and a little bit of dust has got past the pretty inadequate air cleaner on these vehicles, and I had been driving in heavy dust conditions, and the sensor has picked it up and it's warning you to change, in effect, there's dust getting through, change your air filter. This is a handy thing to have on an engine, I think you would agree. So I changed the air filter. Much later on in the trip, I had another engine warning light. I then checked the air filter myself, was clean. So I don't know what these two engine warning lights were, so I took it to my dealer when I got home. Good idea, right? No. They wouldn't tell me. Now, they didn't actually say, we're not going to tell you because you've got a piggyback chip fitted. It was their attitude. Again, it was their attitude. I said, can you tell me what the engine warning light, what the code means? They wouldn't tell me. So I brought it to Perth Diesel Performance. They're the people that installed the unit chip, to ask them if they could read some of the codes. And they said, well, basically, yes, they could, had I not taken it to Toyota, because Toyota have erased them, so they couldn't actually trace them. So I still, to this day, don't know what the problem was, or maybe it's going to come up again, because the dealer's attitude is, we're not interested if you fit one of those. So the answer to this problem is a scan gauge.
The scan gauge I got from PDP. It allows me to scroll through various gauges and I can decide what I want. When clicking the menu, you can see in the top left there the word scan. That is the scan gauge. I can click that, and if there have been any codes at all, then I will be able to then see the code. It will give me a number. I can then look up the number. If I'm online, I can look up, go online and look at it. And if I'm not, I should have those codes printed out so that I can refer to them. If there's a problem with the vehicle, if engine light comes on, it will trigger a code. I can then go into the scan gauge, see what the code is, and find out what's wrong with the vehicle.
Which now begs the question. I have an engine failure. A serious one. Are they going to... They're not going to honour the warranty. They're not going to honour the warranty. If that is the attitude over just a little light coming on, they're not going to honour the warranty. So then, okay, let's look at my vehicle. It's full of accessories. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. I'm in love with it. I'm having so much fun with it, like we all do with our four-wheel drives. We love our trucks. We live for our trucks. We live for our trips. But it means accessorizing them. We're not the only people in the world to accessorize our cars. Okay, it's a huge business around the world. So let's take one item and give it some consideration. Will this item affect a warranty? And it's an item we all fit to our four-wheel drives. Bull bar. We've all got them. I chose this one. It's an ARB. I like the look of it, amongst other things, and it's the one I selected. But there's a problem. It's not approved by Toyota. If you want to avoid any possible trouble, well, then you have to order an approved accessory, which in the case of the Toyota Land Cruiser, you have to have this hideous monstrosity bolted to the front of your vehicle. That's not an option. Realistically, is a bull bar that's not approved a serious problem? Well, I don't think so, unless, for example, on my vehicle I've got a beautiful ARB bar. There are a lot of gorgeous bars out there from really well-known and respected manufacturers. I think, and this is a guess, this is off the record, I'm not a dealer, but if you're putting something on there that is very, very what brand name, that is very well respected, like ARB, for example, how can they honestly turn around and say that's not acceptable and that affects your warranty? But if you now go and put on a Farmer Jack special, they may very well turn around and say, did you test it for airbags? Did you test it for cooling? Then, well, then what? Let's say, beautiful ARB bar, they won't give you any trouble because ARB is such a well-known make and they couldn't possibly, turn around and say that's affecting your cooling, but the lights in front could. You now have an engine problem. They look at your vehicle and say, lights affecting the cooling. Warranty, not interested. I'm not saying they will, but they could. Would they? So my question to you is, if you have had any kind of experience such as this, where a dealer has turned around and said, I'm sorry, we're not honouring your warranty because of an accessory you have fitted, we want to hear about it. I want to get this discussion going right here on this video. This activity, this negative activity from the dealerships isn't going to stop us changing the suspension, changing this, changing that, and upgrading our vehicles to our purposes. If I wasn't allowed to change things on my troop carrier, I wouldn't own a troop carrier. They're just too uncomfortable. Period. This thing rides like a magic carpet over corrugations. It's brilliant. Whereas the standard one is pretty horrid. So it's not going to stop us modifying our vehicles. But just be aware, the moment you modify your vehicle, the dealer has every right and will, even though we don't think they should, they will and do have the right to turn around and say, not our problem. Okay, next time, what am I going to do? Oh, I've been doing some nice things on the Land Cruiser. I've been doing a whole lot of interesting things, and I'll show them next time. If you want to follow me and my truck builds, my expeditions on a weekly, if not daily basis, follow me on Instagram. The link is below. And remember to hit that subscribe button.